evening. Welcome to the Almont Community Schools Board of Education work session on August 18th, 2026. Please, we're going to call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burrow, will you do roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Burns.
Here.
Mr. Wade.
Here.
Mr. Burrow here. Ms. Rotarius.
Here.
Ms. Ankley.
Here.
Mr. Eckert here. Ms. Smith.
Here.
We have all 7 members present.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. This will bring us to adoption of the agenda. Mr. Wood, are there any additions?
There is one addition under number 7C. We need to add number 5, school of choice. Again, under 7C, add number 5, school of choice.
Any deletion?
We have one deletion tonight. We need to remove number 2 under the approval of the non-rep contracts. So again, under 7C, number 4, we need to remove number 2 for the approval of the non-rep contracts.
Any amendments?
Nope.
Great, thank you. This will bring us to our first questions and comments from the audience pertaining to the agenda. Seeing there's no one in the audience, we will keep moving forward. Communication, I'll turn this over to our superintendent, Mr. Wood.
Thank you, President Smith. We wanted to provide a update on the 90-day plan. So this was, and it's displayed here and it was in the packet. This was something that we discussed and talked about during the interview process. And so what I did is I took the 90-day plan and I just turned it into a checklist rather than bullets. So we want to make sure, obviously, that I'm holding myself accountable to do what I said I would do, and that we're making progress in these areas. And I won't go through every one of them, but just, most of it looks like all the July ones were hit. I met with Ms. Vaughn before I even actually was scheduled to start, and we discussed and met with a variety of stakeholders, a variety of directors to help with that transition. And kudos to Ms. Vaughn because she was great during those meetings as far as catching me up to speed. Ms. Merrifield and I, the next one there, meeting with the business director, have met, I would say almost daily to talk about different topics and grants and budgets. So we've had plenty of conversations and I'm sure many more to come. We got out the introductory press release to the media, met with the newspapers, so we got that handled. We did have individual meetings with each board member, and I want to thank the board for taking the time to do that. Very insightful and just help kind of chart that direction of where we want to head. We're reviewing contracts. We'll talk about that more later this meeting. I've reviewed the strategic plan. We just had the all administrative team meeting this last Monday, where we had all the directors, all the building principals all together. We each provided an update, and then the building principals and I stayed after just because we have just a number of topics to discuss at the building level. Facility tours with the maintenance director. I was able to get that in with Mr. Frederick before he left. And I've got an update on that position later. Analyzing staffing needs we've been doing really since we've come in, as far as making sure we're properly aligned to student to staff ratio. Operational sinking fund status and future planning. I think we've made some progress on that. And then review professional development plans. I will share an update as far as what we have planned for the next couple professional development days as well. Moving on to August, we just held that meeting. And actually today, going down to the next one there, meet with all staffing groups. Today, Miss Lewis and I met with the middle school teachers, and we previously have met with OB, Miss Phillips and I, and then Mr. Jacobs and I met with the high school team, and then I met with the directors multiple times throughout. Before the fall season, I met with Mr. Zimmerman to discuss athletics. We walked the field, got some improvements to share with the board in that regard as well. Facilities walkthrough with custodians to ensure building preparation. Monday, got an update on that, but on Monday, walked through each building with Heather, the CNC lead custodian, just to make sure that we were all set for open houses and then the first day of students. Attend ISD meetings with the SUPs. That's been ongoing. We've got a couple down. We've got one Friday. And then review the special education program. I met with Shauna. And we've discussed that, and I know we've got a couple new hires for the middle school that Ms. Lewis is very excited about as well. So I feel like we're making progress in those areas. So I just wanted to provide the board with a quick update on that, and something I'll return to probably at the September or October, just to make sure we've completed this checklist. Any questions on that at all? Okay. The next topic that, again, was part of the interview process, and I wanted to make sure that we were providing an update. Oops. So one of the things I talked about in that 5-minute interview there was having 90 conversations in 90 days and putting accountability on myself, just to make sure I was getting out and meeting with the different stakeholder groups. So I wanted to provide an update after meeting with a variety of these stakeholder groups, like I said during the interview, to talk about some things we're doing well, and then maybe some things we need to work on as a district or building. So board members, that was the first group. So some of the celebrations that our board has recognized is our staff, extremely dedicated, our educational achievements and high student achievement, small school feel with our size, knowing students, teachers, that kind of thing. Teachers knowing students, excellent boosters, I would agree. I was at a meeting with them last Monday, and they are very hardworking, very organized. I think they said they gave out $10,000 in scholarships last year. So just an incredible group there. Strong PTA, and then parent community involved. Some areas of focus: we want to strengthen that school community bond, streamline board meetings a little bit more. We want to focus on aligning that curriculum. We've got the new CKLA curriculum, so we want to make sure that's aligned, and we're providing support to staff with that. We've got facilities planning, which we've been tackling, behavioral training, and then financial planning and contract evaluation. So some of the feedback from the board. From the Orchard primary staff, again, you'll notice some common trends across the board. I think you'll see just about everyone up here that talks about how strong our staff is, and from what I've seen so far, I would agree. Sense community, small town feel, especially at the OP in particular, a very veteran group of teachers. Smaller class sizes, strong PTA, and a strong parental support. Areas of focus: administrative turnover. They've had multiple new administrators at the OP, and they're looking for a longer-term, consistent administrator or leader. New curriculum implementation, which you'd expect with the CKLA curriculum. Times to post the positive. So they felt like there's more good things that we need to be posting, but we just don't have the time or the personnel to do it. Emphasizing that positive behavior support training. Our aging technology, so that goes back to our 3rd and 4th grade Chromebooks, which we have an update on that as well. And then again, just the facility needs throughout our district and at Orchard. Middle school staff, this one is an additional handout in your packet. This, I just added this today, so if you haven't seen that, you might want to take a look at that packet. But again, celebrations, strong, cohesive unit from staff, sense of community, challenging curriculum, veteran teachers. They like that the options for students, both at the middle school and high school, as far as the number of AP courses, they thought that was great. And the big celebration is the full special ed staff. As we know, that was a challenge for us last year at the middle school, and strong parental support. Areas of focus: future curriculum needs, so not just on CKLA, but also as we look into the future as far as we're doing our math curriculum and things like that. So just keeping that on our radar. Time for curriculum planning. Technology for building subs, that's something we talked about today, because the CKLA curriculum is a lot of online components to make sure that when they're not there, instruction can continue. And then facility needs, specifically AC was brought up, and then the flooring at the middle school as a concern. High school staff, again, staff culture, parental support, that we're student-centered, strong sense of community and academic offerings, and our front office is amazing. Areas of focus, again, administrative turnover. Hopefully Mr. Jacobs will be able to right that ship a little bit and be with us for a while. Hallway traffic during instructional time, that's something that Mr. Jacobs and I have already been talking about. Greater structure to our mentor-mentee expectations as far as with our new staff. More advanced coursework, which we've talked about, and I talked about even during my interview. How we get those classes on a rotation. We're thinking students will want to come in and almost have a 5-year plan based on the rotation, so they know what classes will be offered when. And then it seemed like truancy was becoming a growing concern from the high school staff as well. Bus drivers. So the bus drivers met as a group over at the bus garage, and I walked over and introduced myself, and it was a great group. We had a good conversation. Some celebrations they pointed out that the mechanics are wonderful. We have dedicated drivers that care about students. The team works well together. They feel a connection to the district, and some of them have kids and grandkids attending, so a strong connection with the drivers. Areas of focus: enhancing communication regarding changes in the EdTech field trips. So that's something we'll work with the EdTech on as far as relaying that to make sure our drivers know. Getting cancellation notifications out to them as soon as we can. And then we've already talked about this, but having more active supervision at drop-offs and dismissal from administration, making sure the buses are full, the students are out, and then giving an okay to go on your way. And then the community, which I did not include the meeting today, but excellent teachers and support staff, safety of students, doing well with planning and preparation, and a strong sense of community. Some areas of focus: clarity and communication with the community, keep the small town feel, emphasizing that student behavior and expectations, and then the need for facilities improvements. Any questions on that?
Can you speak more about the truancy?
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like we just have a group of students who are missing an excessive amount of days. And so how do we support that, and how do we enforce, and how do we use other resources to support and make sure they're at school? So that'll be a challenge.
Is that a problem you see at all of the schools, or just in the school?
Yeah, I know in my previous it was a challenge. It really depends on how much support you can get from the courts and the truancy officers assigned. I have previous ones where she would go and knock on doors and pull them out of bed, and lo and behold, our truancy issues went down. A different person came in, different approach, and when you don't have that, then you start to see the truancy tick back up.
I think his question was more like between our buildings, is it just really at the high school level, or is it all?
It was brought up at the high school level. So I'm assuming that's where, I know they talk about a particular, like a few students that just missed a large number of days. And how do we remedy that and hold them accountable for their attendance?
I believe there was a reference presentation in Ms. Howe's interventionist about the truancy from a couple months ago.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you done presenting?
Yes.
None? Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a big difference.
Wow, I like it better when it's on. Right.
Might be harder on camera to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our 10 followers would be honest about that.
All right, moving on to number C, or letter C, I should say. Non-homestead operation renewal. We just wanted to take just a second to thank the community again for the support and the passage of our non-homestead operational renewal. The final numbers I saw were 1,495 yes votes for 60% and 999 no's for 40%. So again, we just want to say thank you to the community for their support. Any questions on that at all? EOP update. So this one has been an ongoing, something we're continuing to work on. So yesterday, we shared the letter that the Lapeer County Superintendents collaboratively created to relay the now required language, and that was included in your packet. This letter was shared through PowerSchool and will be included in the packet of materials for parents in each building, kind of their welcome back materials. These 3 sheets will be in there for parents to review if they didn't get the PowerSchool notification. The letter explains the standard response protocol and the common language to be used depending on the situation. So the language is hold, students stay in their classroom and clear the hallways. Secure, all exterior doors are locked to secure the building perimeter. Lockdown, students and staff move out of sight and lock classroom doors. Evacuate, everyone moves to a designated safe location outside the building. And then shelter, staff and students take specific protective action against all hazards like severe weather. So this is a little bit more all-encompassing. It's not just about like an Alice or going into a threat. This accompanies a lot more, talks about severe weather. So we'll work with training the staff. And actually we've got that planned with the staff. We met previously with Officer Retzler and the building principals. We plan on doing the staff training. We have a half day, that first day with students, August 24th. And Officer Retzler and I plan to go to each building and present this safety protocol to the staff. And then the county is all pretty much agreed that the first 3 weeks, we will roll this out age appropriate to students. So we've been planning quite a bit with that, but obviously very important to maximize and ensure student safety. Any questions on that?
Ms. Wood, I like that you guys are going this direction. It'll simplify things greatly. Like if something does happen, if you say, hey, we're in secure mode, we'll know exactly what that means rather than like what's going on. So like, I think this is a great idea. I love that you got involved with this to help simplify this with Officer Retzler.
Yeah, absolutely. Officer Retzler's been a great help. He has a presentation ready to go, and then once we have that, then we'll kind of pare it down to age appropriate with the students.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Wood, so for our ELP books and everything, are you still in the process of updating actual booklets that will go in the building?
Yeah, so we're still in the process of updating our master EOP to the Michigan State Police template, and then we plan on having one of these posted in each room, just so they're familiar with the language, like have a little diagram of what each one means. So if we say we're going into secure, they know what that means just by looking in the room, or if there's a sub in there, they'll understand what that means if you make that announcement. Awesome. The next topic, high school Dean of Students. So Mr. Jacobs interviewed for this position yesterday. And I am planning to meet with the candidate tomorrow to finalize everything with that position, so making progress on that.
Sorry, Mr. Wood.
Yeah.
So does he have a recommendation that he's presenting to you?
Yeah, he's recommending him, and then I always meet with the candidates
Yeah.
before final approval.
Yeah.
Well, before really we bring him to the board for final opinion. Because he would be on a non-rep contract.
Will that be accomplished before the regular meeting on Tuesday?
Hopefully, yes, we'll be bringing him Monday to the board for approval. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we know, sorry,
Oh.
do we know how that works timing wise? Like if we weren't able, like, do they have to wait to start until after they're from the
Typically
recruit?
what has happened in the past, Mrs. Holly, I think said before, like, it's very common that division will start
Before the,
formally, I mean, it's really that, but I think that's a good practice.
The time that I know the board, we have not let somebody work and then not hired them after, so I don't want to find that position ever to occur, but we just gone through and got them in the position to get started.
And, you know, and also like our superintendent, we're trusting that person to bring us that recommendation. They're not gonna bring that recommendation. Like if they pick up.
Right.
yeah, I don't want to say it's rubber stamp necessarily, but generally ours is just a formality that we're approving it.
Yeah, but yeah, we trust our superintendent to do all those.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Good questions. F, vacancy update. So we currently have our facilities director position open. We have previously posted this position, and we have 4 interviews set up for tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have something out of that soon. I will be, although I've enjoyed taking over facilities, I will be happy to get that position back hired. So hopefully we'll have good interviews tomorrow.
I didn't know you were gonna wear so many hats.
Yeah, it's been good. We've made progress.
Nice welcome.
At the OP, we have the student success coordinator. Ms. Phillips and her team interviewed candidates yesterday, and they're still determining their direction moving forward with that candidate pool. And then we have a variety of para-pro positions open at basically almost at each building that we're still working with them.
And the tuition based, is that?
I'll have an update on that a little later.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot happening in early
Okay,
childhood.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my questions.
Mr. Wade, I remember when I first started, the budget for parapros, that we didn't adjust it if we didn't hire enough parapros, and it sounds like we're really short on parapros. So just make sure that that gets adjusted in an amendment or whatnot if we stay that short. Because that was like 2 years ago where we like had a full-time budgeted and we only used like half of the amount. I think it was like a couple $100,000. Yeah.
Good call, Cheryl.
hopefully we can hire them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd be
Great.
the ideal situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to 31AA. This was a handout included in the board packet there, but this continues to be a controversial topic. It was discussed at length during our legal update at the Lapeer ISD. So an area, one of the updates is up to $73.53 per pupil for student mental health and up to $147.06 per pupil for opting in if meeting the following requirements. And I won't read through all of them, but the new definition of mass casualty, significant physical injuries to not fewer or 3 individuals, 2 or more fatalities, an incident that requires outside resources from surrounding jurisdictions, or a sudden surge of injured individuals. New significant physical injuries, risk of death, significant physical pain, protracted and obvious disfigurement or protracted loss of impairment of a function of a bodily member, organ, or mental or sensory facility. So at the training, she really couldn't give us much explanation as far as what exactly all that means. So I feel like it's still a controversial issue, but we want to make sure that we're presenting this to the board, as we'll have to make a decision one way or another at some point this school year.
Do we have a deadline on that?
I haven't heard of a deadline yet. Have you? I haven't heard of one.
Do you know what they mean when they say waive any privileges held by the district? Can you clarify that at all?
No, I mean, that language, it seems like, I mean, it basically sounds like you would have, like, they would have open rights to investigate and kind of proceed as they see fit. But she didn't really get into that. I mean, she basically left it as this language still leaves a lot to be defined.
I remember that when we were deciding this last time, we were getting legal updates as well on this, and like our lawyers had recommended not to go forward with this, or there was a couple of different groups that did. Are we going to keep getting
A
those
lot of
updates?
this language is just coming out, so like,
Right.
Mr. Wood just had his update and stuff, and so he and I had actually discussed possibly inviting True to come at
Okay.
September's meeting, and they would be available to speak to us a little bit more individually, and that way we could each individually ask questions and whatnot. It's a very involved decision, obviously, and it's a lot of different language, and they've switched it and added
Right.
and stuff, so I don't think that's a bad idea.
No, I think it'd be a great idea. The only thing I would say is I don't know how much more information they're going to have, but it would still be good to hear it from our legal team and not just me, so I agree.
Well, there may be legal translation they can do for some of the verbiage of it.
I think that you're gonna have a trying to find helpful and that way we can be prepared. So if they can come to one of the September meetings, then you guys will, that would be great.
Yep, we'll do.
Because they went so far this last time as they like, granted it was our decision, but they had recommended that we not go forward with this. So I
don't
would
think
like
any
to see.
recommendation, I haven't seen anything
Okay.
come out, and I haven't, and some of other people, and just like, principal board, they haven't been getting recommendations
Okay.
yet either. So a lot of it's still kind of
Up in the
coming
air.
out.
Okay.
Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Merrifield, did I see in the financial update this week that we're not getting 31A anymore?
So it's kind of complicated. They are, let's see, this is their wording here. As of a July 30th, MDE, Michigan Department of Education memorandum, they say, under the fiscal year 2027 state school aid budget, funding is increased and moved from categorical grants to weighted foundation payments based on the number of students who qualify as economically disadvantaged and/or English learners. So they are transitioning from categoricals such as 31A and Section 41, which is bilingual language, and absorbing that in their new weighted calculations of how they pay out the pupil foundation loans.
So those funds are likely still there, just shifted to a different.
Yep. However, keep keeping track of how you spend it. So like I always say, the state loves to give and take away. So this is their way of giving, without these categoricals, but yet, they have other methods for you to keep track of what you're spending and who you're spending it on and I've been doing research onto, is it WIDA, testing scores, and there's a lot involved.
I was just wondering, in relation to, I know 31A, 31AA are kind of related, like if we're really losing one, does that sort of push us in a different direction than the 31AA?
31A is your at-risk population, 31AA. So the one caveat they did mention at the legal update was, it sounds like it's two separate pots of money, and you could opt in for like the 7351 per student for mental health funding, and the 147, that other language, the concerning language really, would be applied to that amount. So it does sound like if we wanted to, we could apply for the mental health and not apply for the one with the concerning language.
Thank you.
Technology update, H. So Chromebooks, they should arrive this week. Once they arrive, the first priority will be to get the 9th grade ready, as we have 30 or so devices for the larger 5th grade. So depending on when the Chromebooks are delivered, there may be some 5th grade students that start the year without a device. But he's hoping to get them this week. He even talked about having our student helpers work on the weekend to try to get those as many as possible ready for the start of school. And they're usually handed out the first day. From there, we will work on the 3rd and 4th grade, as we know those are in need at the OP. And then Chromebook distribution. The tech team is working this week to finalize the distribution of the Chromebooks back to the students on the first day. And everything should be all set and ready to go as far as getting those devices back to them. And then staff devices, they have been ordered, but we don't have a delivery date yet. We will plan to start the year with our old devices, and those are almost swapped out one at a time just to make sure files and things are moved to the new device. And so we'll start with the OP will be the building receiving new staff devices. Any questions on technology? Employee recognition. We would like to recognize Ms. Merrifield, who has completed her MSBO Business Manager Academy. So I didn't tell her that we were going to be doing this, so I knew she wouldn't want us to. So we just have a nice letter here from MSB. On behalf of Michigan School of Business officials, it is my pleasure to inform you that Kathy Merrifield has completed the MSBO Business Manager Academy. This rigorous 11-month program includes extensive participation, mentoring with peers and facilitators, and practical hands-on application of essential school business skills. Completion of this academy is a significant professional achievement and a testament to Kathy's dedication and commitment to excellence in school business management. So, well done.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Congrats. That's awesome.
That was teacher's pet, no?
All right, moving on to early childhood update. We've had a few updates or a few things take place since last month. We originally planned to have the 3rd GSRP classroom in the middle school. However, with the not replacing the open 1st grade position, it did open up a classroom at the OP. Ms. Phillips has adjusted the rooms in the OP with our current tuition-based preschool class moving to the open classroom, and then the 3rd GSRP classroom moving into the old tuition-based preschool. So that will basically put the 2 GSRP classrooms next to each other, with the 3rd at the middle school, and then the tuition-based preschool will be the one that moved into the vacated open classroom. Okay. Last Friday, Catherine from MDE was on site and approved the now tuition-based preschool room for this coming school year. So that was kind of the final thing we were waiting for, was that MDE approval. She was on site, loved it. And so this means we will not have to displace any middle school teachers, as we had previously thought we might need to. And the good news is we have 17 families ready to fill that now 3rd GSRP room. So great progress was made in that area in the last month. Any questions on that?
Go ahead, Mr. Burke.
With only 17 in that room, would you rebalance it all, or would you just keep the numbers as is?
I think we would just keep them as is. I mean, each room still has a teacher assistant, and an aide, so we still have 3 in there. The other ones are already set as far as I believe they're starting to do home visits, and so I think we would kind of plan to keep them where they're at.
That was my question.
So the goal of the preschool program is obviously to keep kindergartners. If we end up with a 5-class kindergarten next year, we just have to go back to the drawing board and displace one of the GSRPs or?
And we'll have to kind of see how many, if there's any changes in that enrollment. I mean, that is something we thought about,
Okay.
but we'll have to see. I mean, right now, our kindergarten numbers for this year are pretty good as far as our optimal sizes. So we'll have to see, does that whole group stay and move in? How many of those go into young fives? So there's a few caveats with it.
I have a question. So for at the OP with that room, is there anybody that got just, like, I mean, I know it was open, but like, was there any plan for that room before it came to us? Like, it was just an open room? So
Yeah, that was the open room.
Okay.
Yep.
And then in the afternoon, because that's only an AM program, will that room be accessible if like anybody needs to do like a pull-in or like, you know, when they want to work or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, that could be a possibility. We could utilize that room. And one of the reasons that change was made is because the GSRP requires a rest period in the afternoon. And so having those two rooms next to each other and not in the more, I guess you could say, busy hallway, will hopefully allow for that GSRP group to get better rest. All right, sinking fund. So sinking fund, after the special meeting, the team and I, with guidance from Troon and the election clerk, submitted all the required documents by Tuesday of last week. So everything should be ready to go as far as all the language, all the approval, and be ready to go for the November 3rd ballot. Underneath that is K-12. So we've met with two companies so far, K-12 and another company, and I'm working to schedule another company to meet with on Thursday. We wanted to kind of get a little more wider variety of as far as what other companies are willing to offer, and make sure we're competitively selecting those companies. And once I have that information, I will share it with the board to make sure that everyone has that information. And then the community committee. We have started to make a little bit of progress in this committee. As we talked about before, we plan on having community members, staff members from each building, parents from each building, a couple of coaches, athletic director, IT director, building and site chair, building administration, facility managers, and myself. So we're starting to make some progress on putting that together. I met with a committee group today, and so there were some potential members in that meeting today. So keep the board updated on that. Any questions on sinking fund K-12 or community committee?
Yes, sir. Do we have like a rough idea of when we're planning to launch the committee?
I mean, we don't have a firm date yet. We need to finalize as far as people willing to participate in it. Absolutely. And then from there, we talked about just starting with having the group start with the facilities tour, but we haven't set a date yet.
Okay.
It was the hope to try to get something going before the election with that, or is the plan to wait until after the election?
You mean before the election in November?
Yeah.
Or, oh yeah, no, we want to get this committee rolling as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smith, for the K-12 update, the two companies that you have, sometimes you get, I'm not saying that this is the case here, but sometimes you get, like company one is offering A, B, and C in their statement of work, company two is offering A and B, just making sure everyone's apples to apples for the quotes.
Yeah, so far with the two I've met, they're very similar, but the one, for example, for his like video production outsources that. So I feel like each one will be a little bit different. And we'll just, the board and that will have to collectively decide which one provides the services we think will be, give us the best opportunity to spread the word.
Mrs. Sloan?
Yeah.
How many people are we looking to be in the community committee? I mean, what's your ideal number you're looking for?
I mean, we roughly looked, I think this would get us right around, I think it was 15-ish. I didn't add it all up yet just because we don't have those hard numbers. But we wanted a committee that represented all the different groups, but wasn't so large to where then it makes it difficult to manage and kind of hone in and provide a direction.
I think 15 is enough.
Okay, update for Board of Education. I did get feedback from everybody on the meetings. There will be, I think we can make 2 of them work with everybody present. There's one we're gonna have to make an adjustment on. That I'll switch the 1 or 2 I have to make an adjustment on that. And I think what I'm gonna try to do, and Scott thinks he can make it work, is we'll do it for like the regular meeting. So like maybe just do an hour beforehand. I'll get you guys all the dates within the next couple of days of the time. Because I think then those three meetings are important meetings that we should be part of. So the first one would be that board self-assessment, and he said that would not take more than an hour. So we could do that before a regular meeting, and that way nobody, like, we're all there for that. The soup one in October, I know Mr. Burrow has a commitment, so we are gonna keep that one because he said he didn't wanna get that too much further out. And then I'm looking at rescheduling the September one. So I'll get you guys all those dates as soon as possible. And then on our board operating procedures, we do have, we're supposed to schedule a fall walkthrough. We're not gonna do that as of right now until we get our facilities person in place. And then we'll get a date for that person to do a fall walkthrough.
Sounds good. Good, thanks.
All right, moving on to committees and curriculum. August professional development plan. So this week, teachers will be back in the building tomorrow and Thursday. We will have 3 hours of professional development as well on August 24th, which as previously mentioned will be for our safety training. Tomorrow, August 19th, is a teacher work day. We plan to have a grab-and-go style breakfast and just a welcome back presentation, introduce our new staff. But we want to make sure that the groups I met with today, we said it will be short and sweet as we know they want to get into their classrooms and get things rolling, especially with the open houses coming up. On Thursday, August 20th, we have a variety of PD planned. K-5 will have CK-LA curriculum training in the morning and then DIBELS training in the afternoon. 6-12 will spend time developing their curriculum, assessments, and analyzing their data. Any questions on curriculum?
Sorry, one question. Is Ms. Phillips leading the charge kind of on the CKLA?
Do you have a clarifying question?
Sorry, clarifying question. Is Ms. Phillips leading the charge on the CKLA?
No, when you partner with the curriculum company, they provide their trainings. They'll have their curriculum experts that know, the rollout, the plan, the curriculum in and out, where teacher resources and support can be found. So no, the company that sponsors the curriculum will be doing the training. All right, moving on to building and site. Variety of updates here. The first one is the track. So the track, the company was out and removed more latex after surveying the area. They're in the process of coming up with a plan on how to get water out of the area, and they said they should have a plan within a couple of days. And I talked to them, I think it was Monday this week after I saw some more latex had been cut out. So they got it all painted the week before they come out and surveyed it. So I think they're trying to figure out how to get a better slope in that area because water is still cooling after the last rain.
Mr. Murray, so this seems like it's been a little bit of a challenge for them. I saw they had like an orange grid painted on it.
Yeah. Yeah, they initially patched those areas, and then they're just concerned that it continues to I don't want to say sink, but then after that last patch, then it cooled water right in front of where they just patched. So that's where they then brought us, basically a surveyor out to try to find the slope. And why they cut the latex, I'm not sure. But yeah, it seems like it's turning into a bigger problem than we anticipated. It's been ongoing for at least a month and a half.
Is the expectation that it won't be done, obviously, before we start the year?
I mean, they talked about at one point heating up the asphalt, adding to it and regrading and then, packing it down. So I think they're kind of still figuring out ideas. I wouldn't put a timeline on it right now just because they haven't provided me with any other than they'll get back to me in a couple of days.
I mean, I do think we need to be firm that it needs to be done this fall, though, because we don't want to run.
Agreed.
If we get cold weather, then track is.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, effective.
Yep.
Mr. Burrow, I have a clarifying comment.
Okay, what do we got, Mr. Wade?
Mr. Wood, did they give you the guidelines for the track yet?
They discussed it with me as far as like how fast it should drain and what amount of time. Is that what you're referencing?
No, the general day-to-day things that should be done and should not be done, the general maintenance. We got it in the drive, not in the drive, but in our email, forwarded to you.
Okay.
Other things so that we go through as you are currently the facilities
Yeah.
manager, that as you see things like driving on
Sure.
the track, these things, just a discussion with one of the coaches. We have things scheduled, and this was to be done in June, so one of the things we had happen last year, we had to move a JV football game because of them working on it. So as we get into our fall season, we don't want to jeopardize things that are already scheduled where they lose out because of things that haven't been completed yet.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Good point. I will follow up with the company and hopefully have an update for the board of the Summer cleaning is the next one here. Yesterday, like I said, I walked with each building with Heather, the custodial manager. Overall, the buildings are in good shape. They do leave the last, I think she said, a couple weeks just for small touch-ups. All the big projects, the waxing the floors, sealing or redoing the gym floors have all been done. So it's small stuff, and she said most of their attention will actually be at just touching up things at the OP. The elementary staff tends to come back earlier, so just to make sure that's tidied up for our open houses in the first day of school. Questions on summer cleaning? Fob project. Good news, all the readers and push buttons have been installed. The next step will be to troubleshoot. We're having an issue with a push button at the middle school, and then just making sure that the cameras are working and displaying as they should be as people walk up to the area. So making progress on the fob project. Questions on the fob project? The Wi-Fi project update. We have a tentative delivery date of August 20th for the materials to arrive. Once we have them, they need to be configured, and then we will work with the company for an installation date. We have a little bit of time on this. I don't anticipate this being done before school starts, but we'll coordinate the time when that can be done once we have the materials. And our current setup is good through December. So Mr. Martin said he feels confident that we'll easily do that. Any questions on the Wi-Fi project? Handicap parking at the OP. It was brought to my attention that we did not have our handicap parking spots in the appropriate location in the North OP parking lot. After looking into it more, the parking spots needed to be moved to be in ADA or be ADA compliant. The spots have now been moved to the closest spaces near the accessibility ramp. And we also ordered and put up an additional handicap sign to mark those spots. The only thing we're struggling with at this point is removing the old handicap sign that was embedded into the asphalt. We don't have anything powerful enough to pull that out and then patch that. So still problem solving that.
Was the sign at least taken off, so does it indicate that the
I
sign
can
is
check
being
on that.
removed and leave the pole?
Yeah, I can check on that. I think we had talked a little bit about leaving the sign just so you don't have like this pole just stick like as a better eye signal, but I mean, we can look at that and removing the sign because we don't want them to be confused. They did repaint over the previous handicap spots in the appropriate colors.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not blue like the handicap spots, but we can remove the sign.
It's the Bully of the Month sign.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Pearl, just to clarify, but what kind of equipment would it require to get that sign out?
Something strong enough that has we could wrap something, a chain or something around just to lift it out.
I have a few things at home, so I was just wondering.
Okay.
Put the hubby to work.
It's the patchwork afterwards that you don't want to mess
Yeah,
up.
that's true, yeah.
The old hot pants there.
Yeah, you don't know if it's like,
Right.
you don't know if it's like this big or like that big. Thank you for getting those signs moved. I know we had an audience member that came in about that, so
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Nice
Yep.
to see that, for sure.
I have one question.
Yes.
How are the other schools? Are those appropriately handicapped parking?
Good question. I can check. I can check on that. I mean, we just wanted to make sure that one was specifically mentioned, so we wanted to make sure we got right on that one, but yes, I can check the other buildings.
Off the top of my head here, we do have some like directly out there and then right outside the gym.
Okay. And the high school has them in front of the superintendent office too, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a few.
I think a lot of profits
I think we're pretty good on those.
Yeah.
south side by the tennis, but I'm not sure.
Well, there's no designated spots. Oh,
No, there
there
is.
used to be.
There was.
There's not really any lines in.
Oh.
That was moving portion.
Well, maybe just do a
Okay.
whole campus.
Yep.
Yeah, great question.
You have 12.
I did not know that, just for the record, but they're on YouTube, so.
All right, moving on to the next one here. We did have 2 windows replaced at the OP, one that had developed a crack and the other one was hit by a rock from the lawnmower, so both have been replaced and we're ready to go to start the year. Any questions on the windows?
Clarifying question. Were they under warranty? Was it insurance?
The one that had the crack in it, I'm not sure on that. I know the YSI replaced or paid for, their insurance paid for the one that was damaged from the lawnmower.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next one, Media Center water damage at the OP. So Ms. Phillips alerted me the other night, the Media Center storage room had some water coming down through the ceiling. Adam, our assistant facilities, came up, he took a look. We saw it was coming from a crack, nothing we could really do at that point. So the next morning, Adam and I went up above into the HVAC area, saw where the water was coming from. We got a hold of Yarrow, is that, I think it's how you say it right there.
Yeah.
And they ended up having there was basically a drainage pipe that was blocked, and that's what was causing the water to back up and then drain into the media center. They fixed it that day, and we replaced the ceiling tiles, and everything should be all set.
So that one was roof related?
No, it was HVAC. related.
HVAC.
Correct.
Better HVAC than roof.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
On to the next. We had goalpost paint. So Mr. Zimmerman, we are working with Mr. Zimmerman. They were out today. They were sanding them and scraping them, I think, yesterday. And then I saw they were painting them today. That was something we wanted to get done before the first home game. Just they looked a little rough. They look much better. I'll take some pictures and include them in the board note, but we got that. That should be completed by the end of this week.
Mr. Luke? Is there anything else on the field that needed to be touched up? Don't we have like clock signs and like, is there anything else that you felt that was?
I've got another update coming up here that we're working on. The bleachers power washing, which is another item, where we found that there was some algae grown and it was slippery if it got wet. So Adam's been working on power washing that. And then we also, the landings on the bleachers, the one was particularly bad, but we had a concrete company come in and replace all 3 of them.
Okay.
So those should be good. They did that yesterday, so those should be good. No cracks, we don't have to worry about a trip hazard as people come off the bleachers, so those should be set and ready to go.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you.
The next one, the scoreboard. So Mr. Zimmerman updated me during our preseason check. The scoreboard would not initially connect to the controller. After several attempts, he was able to establish a connection. However, the scoreboard has also been intermittently glitching and resetting. A similar reset occurred during a Friday night football game last year. So he reached out to the manufacturer and identified 3 components involved. The receiver board purchased last year is still under warranty, so it's replaced when we provided it at no charge. We ordered a replacement radio board, which works with the receiver board to enable communication between the controller and the scoreboard. And the manufacturer advised that the resetting issue is most likely related to a power supply. Because these components typically last 8 to 10 years, and our original was to the scoreboard's 2014 installation, we ordered a replacement power supply as a precaution. So the manufacturer also advised that replacement parts for our scoreboard will be discontinued in 2029. And we should keep that timeline in mind as we plan for the scoreboard's eventual replacement. So I know Mr. Zimmerman is working on that and getting that squared away. I don't really have an update as far as sending this information to the board note as far as when we'll have it fixed or the problem solved. But it's something I will keep the board updated on. Questions? The next one there, power washing the bleachers, pretty much covered that already. We just want to make sure they're safe, you know, for our fans when they're in the game, walking up and down the bleachers. So we're power washing those. He's using it when he can because they use that for their drinks at football practice in the morning. So he's been doing that in the afternoon. And then, like I said, they took out the old cement pads that were deteriorating and replaced them with 3 new ones. Questions on that?
Clarifying the question, did I see that they were donating or did they?
I believe Mr. Zimmerman said they donated their labor. We had to pay, obviously, for the material, but I believe he said donated their labor. 11, heat tape incident update. So the good news is I think we're finally ready to move forward with all of this. ServPro was out this last week to clean up the areas identified needing the soot removed. They cleaned the entryway, removed the ceiling tiles, and cleaned the media center. They did put in new ceiling tiles. And then I was in the OP, I think it was Monday morning, and they had the spot where they had cut the drywall to get better access to that area. They had a worker in there that was patching the drywall. So I think that is all set and finalized, and that area should be good to go. Questions on that? And then last one, the gym floors. So good news is that all the gym floors have been redone. I included some pictures in the board note, but all buildings, gym floors should be all set to start the school. Questions?
Before we move on to policy, Ms. Merrifield, the weighted budget allotment per pupil, you had mentioned, are there like rules where you gotta like spend it on certain things, or is it just like into the general fund that the school district can use it for whatever they need it for?
Can you believe they haven't rolled out official instruction yet?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm watching MSBO advisement every day, every other day.
Okay.
I know there's some special meetings in September where they're gonna just kind of try to nail them down.
Okay.
As far as MDE is concerned, they're talking about, you know, rolling it out October. Well, that's too late because that's too late. So they're getting pressure from everyone to give us a plan now so we can project and plan and work with our budgets.
Okay.
So, unfortunately.
We don't have the answer yet. Okay. Mr. Wood, you would come on right when we were in the middle of budget season, and this is also for finance, is the operations and maintenance budget was significantly reduced in our budget, pending hopefully a sinking fund that passes, but for the last 4 years, Mr. Frederick had been using about $130,000 to $150,000 a year out of the sinking fund to pay for general maintenance. If there's a limited amount of restrictions on that money, like from a building and site perspective, I would like to not have to have the next facilities manager pull from a sinking fund and actually have the budget for those routine maintenance repairs. So I just want to put that out there. I don't know what the answer to that money is yet, but just so that's out. Everything's right there. That's all.
All right, moving on to policy, resignations and retirement. So we've got a fact sheet. The Board of Education may agree to a resignation retirement at any time after a replacement suitable to school administration the board has obtained, provided that the circumstances underlying the resignation retirement are valid in the opinion of the board and warrant a search for replacement. Facts. We had 2 resignations this month and 1 retirement. One was Martina Turnovich. So it's a tough one. Tursinovich, who is our behavior interventionist at the OP. She has resigned, and her last day will be August 21st. The second was Nicole Cunningham, who resigned from her paraprofessional position in order to become our long-term special education sub at the middle school. And then the 1 retirement, effective at the end of the school year, is choir teacher Susie Royster. We will plan to recognize her and any other retirements later in the school year. Moving on to new hires, approval of personnel. The Board of Education approves all personnel new hires. Ms. Lewis is pleased to recommend Elizabeth Stratinger as our new Mohawk teacher at the middle school. She joins the team with 27 years of experience. We look forward to welcoming her to the Raider family. Mr. Jacobs is pleased to recommend Melissa Solentric as a high school secretary 1. She joins us with previous office experience. We are excited to welcome her to the high school team. And Mr. Zimmerman has recommended the following coaches: girls varsity basketball, varsity girls assistant basketball coach, head middle school wrestling coach, and 7th grade middle school volleyball coach. Education and advancement. Next one is educational advancement, so approval of teacher change in pay. In order to be eligible to advance from one lane on the salary schedule to a higher lane, a teacher must provide proof of the completion of courses and/or degree requirements in the form of an official transcript of credits from the institution in which the credits were earned. Master's agreement between the Board of Education and the Almont Education Association. So we have 3 this month. Nicole Cobb is moving from Master's to Master's Plus 15. Jackson Shinek is moving from BA to BA 15. And Kelly Petrovich is moving from Master's 15 to Master's Plus 30. And then, and I did include as an additional handout, the transcripts of those credits as well. Approval of non-rep contract. So the Board of Education approves employment contracts of all personnel. We have many staff members that are not part of any collective bargaining agreements and thus have individual contracts with the Board of Education for the duties to which they are assigned. The deletion for number 2, and then we have the recommended compensation package for the high school academic and behavioral interventionist has been discussed and reviewed with the candidate. And then the recommended compensation package for the 4th, 5th grade middle school resource room teacher, full year long-term sub permit has been discussed and reviewed with the candidate.
This was number, maybe I crossed off the wrong policy, number 4, non-rep contracts, did you delete that?
Number 2 on the fact sheet.
Oh, 2 on the fact sheet.
Yes, sorry. Should have clarified. Okay, good. All right, and then number 5, school of choice. Acceptance of school of choice students. The Board of Education may accept non-resident students into our school. Facts, the Almont schools participate in 2 school of choice programs. One program is outlined in section 105 of the school code, allows students in Lapeer Intermediate School District boundaries to apply to our schools. The other is outlined in section 105C of the school code and allows students in those counties contiguous to Lapeer ISD to apply: Genesee, Macomb, Oakland, Sanilac, St. Clair, and Tuscola. And we are recommending 2 students be accepted by Almont Community Schools through the school of choice program at this time, 1 7th grader and 1 9th grader. And I did check with both buildings, and we were able to accommodate these 2 students.
Did we add these 2 students because we lost a certain number of students in 7th and 8th grade? Or sorry, 7th and 9th grade?
Nope.
Or are these new additions?
These were new additions.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right.
That'll bring us to finance. Right?
Start with check pulls.
Yeah, sure, I got 2.
Oh, yeah.
This is Mayor Joe.
Yes.
My first one is check number 47762. Serve
These, there were 2 checks added from your Thursday list because we received our insurance money from the claim from the fire and smoke at the OP last spring. And so we had been, putting off paying CertPro until we received that insurance check, so that's what this is for.
Okay, so this money is coming from the insurance check?
It sure is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then one other, it's lower, 47751.
5-1?
51.
There's a company called Notable for $6,120. It looks like it's for a program called KAMI, K-A-M-I, District Plan Renewal, unlimited virtual learning sessions, professional development.
Okay, so it's something we had already.
Yep.
This is an annual renewal?
Yeah, I believe it's for IT, 284. It was requested by Brandon for the tech department.
But you got,
It's an app.
2026 after it, so is this is something new this year?
It says renewal.
Oh,
Every
20.
district plan renewal on the invoice.
Okay.
Can we get some more detail on that? Like, what is it for? And all the items in the that a year subscription?
Yeah, I mean, it does say renewal, so let me see if I can pull it up here.
On the September 2025 check register. So something we did last year.
It was on there? Okay. How much did it go up?
One second. It was 5508 last year.
So like 700 bucks.
Okay, you guys just email us.
Mhm.
That'd be great, thank you.
Yeah, it goes back to 2021.
Okay.
I'm using this.
Thanks, Kevin.
My turn?
Yep.
Okay, I have 47691. I think it's like for all the copy machine.
Yes, that's correct. Copier use?
47691.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
So,
2B for
do
copier
we,
use.
like, do we use the same vendor year after year? Do we have to
Yes.
go out close? Or do we, like, are we interested, competitive, I guess? That's what I don't know. Maybe we don't even know either.
That would be Brandon does that.
Okay. Okay. And then I had 47739. I think it was for the all-night party.
That's to Dean Transportation?
Yeah. Was that, how many buses was that?
Sorry, there's quite a few things on here. All night party for $379.39.
Yes.
There's also summer school, there's May athletic runs, June athletic runs.
Yeah, there's a.
They drove 186 miles, 6 hours, 6.67 hours. Class of 2026. Steve, you want to know how many students?
I just wanted to know how many buses they took.
Oh,
If it's not there at the time.
yeah.
We'll make that a lot.
Bright
different.
pink. Pink paper.
That's very bright pink.
not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really see
Is that
that.
like drivers on the lead? And company drivers?
It was just miles,
Oh, miles.
and hours, 186 miles, 6.67 hours at $53.50 is the rate. Fuel surcharge.
Sounds like one. It sounds like one.
Yeah. Like one or two or three.
Okay.
The last one I had was 47754.
I think that is to Renaissance Learning for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that, all the buildings, is that,
That is OP.
that's OP?
Mhm.
Okay. Is that a quarter or a year?
Annual.
And, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm done, Mr. Wade.
I have one that wasn't already taken. 47735.
Two bad axe locksmith. Padlocks for emergency. We've got lock cylinders and key blanks for emergency rekeying of the district. Padlocks for roof hatches that are keyed for emergency service access. Looks like it's for all the buildings. Jason left a nice note about it.
So I was just curious as how many padlocks there would be for that amount.
Okay, let's see, it has SFIC cylinders, 35. The slash, B135 Almont restricted are Everest keys, 90. A bus brass padlock, 5. SFIC cylinders, 5. More keys, 4. Miscellaneous locksmith supplies, 1.
Thanks. Take a moment, look through financial statements, any questions? Account balances. Student activity funds. Mr. Wood, I shared with you the expenditure report of the last few years where we are at each month. So I updated it again in the drive. So this is the July payment. So that was at the percentage expenditure report was at 7.3. The last time it was over 7 was the 2020, 2021 school year. A lot of that was where we're paying out stuff and then we're getting reimbursed. So that's something we want to keep our eye on as we move towards getting more information towards the budget amendment. Okay.
Wait, sorry, can you go back to the high school account, please? I forgot about this one. So I know that we had discussion, Mr. Burns might be able to lend yourself more to this, for our current donation for the UMD. There's still money allocated in here, so what, weren't we told by the superintendent that program doesn't increase anymore?
Yeah, and we had gotten approval to shuffle it. Mrs. Merrifield, were you left any correction on that?
It might just be that when they moved the balances from June to July, they forgot to update like the label of the account.
And who would they be?
Our staff,
Okay.
yeah, there's several people that help.
Okay. Can we make sure that this is, like, in the right, all the funds are in the right spots?
Yes. Yes.
You got that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
Actually, thanks for bringing that up. It's related. I'd like to just stress that, like, so we've spent, what, $2,000 on some robotics and automation, but part of the discussion with them is, like, they want the money spent. That's the whole purpose of it. So we need to make sure we're making an effort to spend the money for what it's designated for this year. But we should not be letting that sit around, hanging out with the council.
Well, I can tell you, Mr. Burns, Mr. Wood and I had discussion on the thing with this week, we talked
Yep.
last week. So, he was gonna be reaching out to you and Mrs. Kendall, to start moving forward on that. Get through a few other things.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I don't want it to get lost in
I
the
told
shuffle.
this is not like, this is an important topic to the board and to our school and everything, so he is.
And the Kerners are very interested in doing a visit sometime this fall before they
Yep,
get
in the fall.
south.
Yep.
I believe Mr. Wood already sent them an email.
Yes, I
and-
sent him an email, I haven't heard back, but yes, and I met with Ms. Kendall just to kind of review everything. We're planning that fall visit, we haven't set a date yet, but yes, it's on our radar.
Yeah, good, thanks.
The DEEP program is on moratorium for starting the 26-27 school year. It does not mean it will not come back. So that may be something where, again, later, we may have to shift money if it becomes available.
Well, if they were okay with leaving it, I think we should go out there, we should do whatever that discussion was.
Yeah, well, they were okay, I mean, the message was given to them that that program doesn't exist anymore, so like, not that it couldn't come back. So, I mean, that's the first time hearing that it could come back.
Well, it's a moratorium, so I mean, it's not gone. It is just for that time frame. There's no plans yet as we go through, so in 2 years, 3 years, but if we're still in that program and it's something they want, and it would be a discussion with them saying, okay, it's now been brought back, and it's keeping them in the loop, and say, it's now there, you want us to.
Well, I mean, barring additional donation, I think like the reallocation, I would agree, should just get spent to what those funds were reallocated to.
Mr. Ray, could you, like, can you explain what the new education is actually? I don't actually know.
Dual enrollment educational program. So it's a set, I think it's 13 credits, I think it's 4 classes, where they go through and they work towards, it's almost like the certificate program, but it's 4 specific classes. So there is also regular dual enrollment that you can also enroll in through but with specific classes. I can't think of them off the top of the head. It's similar to the CL5, but it wasn't getting that in depth for them. So you get some college credit towards some of the humanities and the sciences. Any other questions?
To Mr. Wood's Maryfield budget update.
Are you presenting?
I am.
Do you want the lights down?
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank
I'm
you,
close
sir.
to the lights, I should. There's no cars.
Okay, this is an attempt to give an update on our 25-26 amended budget and 26-27 adopted budget. Again, we want to focus on the 5 budget pillars and update as of today. Foundation allowance that we were predicting to happen did in fact happen, so it's a big yes, a $250 increase per pupil. The pupil count, student enrollment, they actually did change to a 3-year blend, so that's a yes as well. And just a reminder, like about the way increases, in the budget, we had forecasted the 5%, the increases as the contracts negate. The state retirement contributions are as follows. The medical insurance increase was a 5% to the hard cap. More updates, the non-homestead millage passed with an exciting yes. We are still beginning the process of a sinking fund proposal. We are hoping that that will pass in November. Again, just reminding you of the utilities increase for water and sewer, waste and trash, general liability insurance, and the heating cost increase. And again, the contracted services per our contractual increases for custodial, HVAC maintenance, transportation grounds, maintenance, etc. And just to remind you again that the conservative revenue approach estimate was made as per enrollment blend and per pupil allowance. And again, we already alluded to that update that did happen. However, the details of that info is still yet to come. Then as a reminder, I wanted to just review with you again our 25 audited financial summary, our fiscal year 26 adopted amendment in February, our adopted budget amendment in June for fiscal year 26, and then our fiscal year 27 adopted budget. For the fiscal year 26 adopted budget amendment, we were predicting to end at a 14.53% fund balance, and we are estimating, based on how the audit process is going thus far, to actually end a little higher than that at around 15%. But I wanted to reiterate what the auditors always say is that there's always a swing of 2 to 3% either way to the surplus or deficit in that percentage. And they say no matter how well your staff is projecting the budget or monitoring the budget, there's just always a swing. They just reiterate that over and over. There's always a swing. Again, wanted to emphasize again the budget assumptions. The state aid membership actually did get approved for a 3-year blend, and details are coming. The foundation allowance, the estimate that we use at $10,300 per pupil did pass. And again, our revenue funding assumptions were from all three, Governor, House, and Senate. Our other cost increases that we had used in the budget assumptions were the substitute staff, the health cap, utilities, cost, and inflation. Our P&C insurance increased by 10%, and we did, for our J at PFM, increase our operating property tax collection by 4%. Another update to the assumptions is that since the budget adoption, there were several adjustments. We did attrition first grade position. We are including a high school dean, and there are many staffing transitions ongoing. We are undergoing the technology investment as planned, and with the Wi-Fi refresh is also in process. An update also to the GSRP, as we spoke of before. The GSRP budget is grown to $11,736 per child. We are increasing our GSRP program by 17 children, and we're approximating a net gain of 20,000 with all these changes said. And then just to give kind of a future schedule, the week of September 21st, our auditors will be on campus with us for the whole week. October 20th is scheduled the auditor presentation to the board. In November, we will present a budget amendment if needed. Most likely, we will need one. And then December, we can plan on a possible budget adoption. And again, I just wanted to remind you of the growth of our instruction support and how the last 3 years stack up against each other. Just wanted to give some opportunity for any questions.
Thanks, Mr. Reed. Kathleen, on the updates. I think everything falls in line with kind of what we had been reporting and what we were expecting. Yeah, I guess I don't have anything else.
Mr. Reed, so like Kathy, on there, it looks like that budget amendment isn't, they're not paying that until November.
Right.
Do we need to do that same way with the different staffing positions, or how, what has been our practice in the past?
General practices as it is needed. So look back, the most I've seen is 3 as you go through. So 1 year, it was done in July. As soon as it was 22 school year, we passed the budget in last week of June, and then we got the budget July 1st. So the next one, we had the budget amendment, we had new information. So as we go through, the more information we have, we pay bills, we have transitions, we have new information, we should look to do a budget amendment. So generally, the guideline that I've gone through is if it's a swing of a percentage point, we look to do a budget amendment. So,
So we should still be okay to do that.
well, that's where she's, if we swung a percentage point, then I would look to do it so we have information going into the next phase. So if we have to make an adjustment, then we have that time to do so. So that would be, if it's beyond a percentage point, if Mr. Wood and Kathy feel it's prudent to do so, then.
Mrs. Merrifield, do you know how much of a swing we've had so far?
It's really hard to tell because things change every day. We just had another resignation today, so it swings every day.
Yeah.
I pulled up our policy on budget implementation, policy 6231. And it says, if during the fiscal year it appears to the superintendent that actual revenues are less than estimated revenues, including the available equity upon which the appropriations from the fund were based, the superintendent shall present to the board recommended amendments to the General Appropriations Act that will prevent expenditures from exceeding revenues. Such recommendations shall be in accordance with requirements of the law and provisions of negotiated agreements. So the way I interpret that, as long as our expenditures do not exceed our revenues. And then I also have from the Michigan Public School Accounting Manual, the compliance with state law and responsibility related to budgeting. They say budget amendments when it's determined that the actual and probable revenues from taxes and other sources in a fund are less than the estimated revenues, including available fund balance upon which the original appropriations from the fund were based, or when the local school board expenditures priorities change the course of the fiscal year, the budget must be amended. And then later on it says, in other words, when the chief administrator realizes that the revenues are going to be less, so if the revenues are overstated and if the expenditures are understated, then there would need to be a budget amendment.
So, to me, the OT implementation is right? I mean, there's guidelines, but
guidelines. But we also want to be forthcoming in where we're at. So as we have negotiations, if we're saying we're sitting at 1 percentage point and we're actually at a different percentage point, that could be a common conversation down the line. Well, no, you're actually at this. Why didn't we do this sooner? So those are conversations to have and look at the information, make a decision.
Mr. Lee, a clarifying question?
Yes, sir.
Do we have our total student count? Like how many do we have in the district right now?
The student count is normally for, like, this school year would be that first week of October. is that's our fall account.
Okay, no, not, like, so historically, we've always had a document in the drive that updates as like students leave or school choice comes in that we can always look at.
Okay.
Just so that we have an eye on like, hey, we're expecting, 20 kids less than last year, we're gonna expect 20 kids more than last year. I know that Jillian made one right before she left, but I don't think she updated it after the first time. So, but it is in there.
Mr. Merrill, do you make sure you ensure involved
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have access to that before you guys need to make that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been updating the elementary numbers, but I haven't got hard, fast, like high school numbers. So
Okay.
I can share that with the board this week as well.
Perfect. And then,
I
you
can
just,
actually add something to that too. If I can, with the student count, the way the new foundation allowance is structured is that it's an average of 3 years. So I've followed along with what they recommend. And so our day-to-day student count will not be affecting our foundation allowance.
Right.
Because it's a 3-year average now.
right.
And so if my calculations are correct, it'll be approximately 29 more students than what we had last year.
Okay. And in that same vein, my second question, clarifying question was for you, Mr. Everything. If they just change that blend, is that 3-year thing here to stay, or is it like if they don't like it after this year, it goes back to the way it was? Just so that we're mentally tracking that, because obviously that benefits a district with declining enrollment, and they may change that back if they feel like they spent too much money at the state level. So like, as far as, like, did they like accept it for like 3 years? Did they accept it for 5 years? Is it just this calendar year?
They have not said for sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, that's all.
Bank account signatures. No, sorry, state aid.
That was, we don't have any update
Yeah,
for the loan.
yeah, the state aid borrowing 7 times.
We're not borrowing, I don't know why. Why it's still on the agenda.
It's on the agenda because I put it on the
Okay,
agenda. So I
okay.
want an update just to make sure that we're on track. I just don't want to be surprised.
Yeah, there's no borrowing.
Yeah, so all you're saying is that everything's still the
Okay.
same and we're not borrowing. So,
Okay, and I'll get the lights.
thank you.
Bank account signatures.
That's the last item. The
Yeah,
bank.
bank account signatures.
Yep.
We need to, if I remember correctly, approve the minutes, and then I'll be able to go and adjust the names on those accounts. So we should be all set with that. And then we'll also we need to open another account that we'll be bringing to the board on Monday to accept donations. So we'll bring that to the board on Monday as well. And then same thing, take minutes to be able to open that new account for donations.
That does remind me that our last board meeting, we didn't have the approval of the prior month's minutes. Those
They
have-
weren't, Mr. Wee, they were unfortunately not completed by the previous person, so Mr. Rowley has caught us up. So we'll be approving multiple minutes at this month's meeting. And then Mr. Wood can get all of those proper, so we've got his name on the accounts, remove the ones that don't need to be on there, or a whole bunch of switches. That will be happening. The account that Mr. Wood had just mentioned, we're setting up an account, and Mrs. Merrifield can talk more on it if she wants to. We're setting up an account where we can accept ACH payments for people that want to make donations. So it would be, that account would just be hold for that. And then, let's say somebody was donating 200 to tennis and 200 to track and 200 to robotics. So it's a $600 donation, comes in there, and then Mrs. Merrifield would put it in the correct account. So, because some companies are now doing where they're only doing ACH, we didn't feel like it was the greatest idea to give like bank account numbers, you know, and stuff like that out for some of our larger accounts, so we thought it would be better to just do like a little housing account. If you want to say anything else.
Yeah,
And I sum it up okay enough.
And we did create a form that the donator could distinguish which account, which amount. So, yeah, they would have to fill that out, complete that, and then that would be heavily monitored.
Did we not previously approve that, or was that just
And we had talked about it and just didn't get done.
Okay.
And partly, Mr. Burns, because we were kind of waiting for all this switches and then maybe everything.
Yeah.
So we just decided
We had
to
talked about
be
it.
easier to do everything at one time.
Sure.
Mr. Wade?
Yes.
Clarifying question from the secretary for this. So will the bank account signatures, since we're approving the minutes on Monday, is that going to be on Monday's meeting or will it be on the following month's meeting?
The approval,
The bank account signatures.
we actually did all of that last month.
Right.
I asked him to give an update, so
Okay.
that the board was like, hey, what's going on?
So once we approve the minutes, like there's nothing left to approve.
Nope,
we're good
we're
to go.
good. We just got to approve the minutes, so that will
Okay.
be on our agenda for Monday night, but I thought everybody should have an update on it. That's it for finance. Right, Sway, good. Questions and comments from anybody in the audience? Sorry, there are nobody there, no questions there. Anybody from the Board of Education, questions or comments? Ms. Stately?
I'm confused on what the opening we had at the preschool is. What positions are currently not?
So we were going to approve a position tonight, and that would have filled all three of our early childhood teacher positions. And she has stepped down from that position, so that's why we reposted that teacher, the lead teacher position for that third GSRP classroom today.
So the tuition-based preschool is filled?
Yes,
Okay,
Yep.
and so it's just that?
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
The tuition half day, was that an internal candidate? that
Yes.
was filled? Okay, and when
Yes.
was that filled?
End of last week or early this week.
Excuse me, just two comments. I want to thank the company that did the cement and the bleachers. Also wanted to make a note, the SPO painted the dugouts on fields 2 and 3. The JV, they got that done last week, it looks great.
Thank you, AF.
AFPSO. It's awful.
Do we have the name of the company that did the concrete?
Mr. Zimmerman set that up. I
They
know
may
he
want to
handles that.
rename anonymous, we should
Yeah.
find out.
It was
If
on
they don't,
Facebook.
We should do it nicely.
It
Yeah,
was, it was posted yesterday on the Facebook
Mhm.
page.
Oh.
The name of them, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about it.
Any other questions or comments?
Mrs. Smith. Mr. Wood, as you go through and we look for that facility manager, I would ask you to put your eyes on, as well as that individual, the facilities maintenance and management plan for the district,
Okay.
so that they can keep track, as that is something that will be asked for your evaluation in June, to get you started on it, so that each year, as we get into budget season, that should be updated, so if something new comes in, we can work it into the budget. So if you can find those, get us them.
Also having them familiar with the priority project list that Mr. Frederick had created, because that's going to be of high importance as we look into the safety fund committee and all that.
Any other questions or comments? from the board? I just want to take a minute to welcome back all of our staff that will be returning over the next week, and our students and coaches and everybody that will be on the campus, and I hope everybody has a great year ahead.
Mrs. Smith. I just want to take a moment to thank Mr. Wood, Mrs. Hawley for kind of jumping in this summer. It's been, I think, a whirlwind of a summer for everything you've been doing. all the many hats and just kind of jumping into the fire and keeping us going.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any future agenda items?
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
We're gonna get back onto policy next month.
We're hoping to try to get policy on the agenda for September, but I am working with Scott to schedule another meeting, so as long as we can get it in hand, well,
Yeah, okay.
I know you will come. Any other future agenda items?
Mrs. Smith?
Mr. Burrow?
I move the Board of Education go into closed session at 7:35.
Support.
Motion support, any discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Oh, and there will be no further new discussion after closed session.